First of all, good day to everyone. First of all, thank you to SBC for the opportunity to bring us all together, the operators, the providers, regulators, speakers, moderators, and whoever else is attending, to discuss the industry that we all love and that we make a living from, hopefully, and for all of us to get to understand what has happened during this maniacal COVID period that's been nearly a year. We all cannot deny the effect it has had on the industry. The changes we have all had to make, I believe, will be permanent. Let me give a quick intro of our panelists, who are all highly regarded and experienced in the virtual gaming sector, or just gaming in general, in no particular order, and thereafter they can definitely do an intro themselves, is John Gordon, who is CEO of Incentive Games, who seem to be quite disruptive in the industry. Josh Sparkle from the Live Score Group. We should all know who the Live Score Group are. Martin Wachter, CEO of Golden Race, who've been around for longer than anybody I know in the virtual space and have done tremendous work in the space from the olden days. Chris Duncan from Black Ops Adventures. I think it's best he explains his industry and his experience in the industry, which is vast from what I've read and from what I understand. So perhaps let's start with John Gordon, and we'll move on to Josh, then Martin, then Chris. I'm sorry, it's in no particular order, guys. So let's just start with John Gordon.
Hi, everyone. Thank you there, Dolan. Hi, everyone. My name's John Gordon, CEO from Incentive Games. We provide virtual products worldwide, but our main focus is in Africa. And we look to take a spin on what's already available worldwide, and we focus our attentions on Africa and create bespoke products there.
I'll go next. Hi, I'm Josh Spark. I'm the head of procurement for Live Score Group. For those who don't know, Live Score Group encompasses a few different companies. We have livescore.com, which I'm sure you're aware of, LiveScore Bet in Nigeria, and VirtuBet in the UK. We have a large African footprint across all 54 countries, Nigeria being the largest, and roughly, I think, around last month, we had about 27, 28 million actives. So yeah, we're quite busy. So hi and welcome.
Yes, hello together. My name is Martin Wachter. I think most of you already saw me in one or the other webinar. I'm in the industry since beginning of 2000, founded Golden Race in 2006. Golden Race is the biggest virtual operator at the moment in the industry. We are selling around 15 million betting slips a day, which is more than 20 million bets. And in 2019, we had around $500 million on turnover, on GGR, sorry. So I would say when it goes on virtual sports, real virtual sports in Africa, we're selling at the moment 7 out of 10 tickets every day.
Hi guys, my name's Chris Duncan, and I've been in the industry since about 2000 as well. I worked at Betson for over 10 years, and I now work with a company called Bongo Bongo. I'm the Chief Product Officer there, and we are an operator that works in Uganda and in Kenya, and we're opening up in other jurisdictions as well. Okay, thanks. So back over to you then, Dolan.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to say that between all of you, I think you all look like youngsters. I've been stuck in this industry since 1978, since I was a kid. So it's all I know. It's what I love, and it's what I've done right back from the days of literally using pens and paper to record bets on the race course and to price up manually and do all sorts of things from the wild days. So I've seen things change drastically, especially something like virtual sports. I actually couldn't believe myself that it would ever work or ever take off. I was shocked. And I was probably the first person to take it to Africa in 2009 or 10, and I was probably a bit early. And it really didn't take off. It was a battle. But I think, things have evolved so drastically since then that, it's probably the biggest money spinner in Africa, without a doubt, is virtuals. Forget about casino and sport. Virtuals and lottery. Virtuals are definitely, as a standalone, the biggest provider of income and of turnover in the industry, in the betting industry in Africa. If they, if it's countries where they're allowed, and obviously where it's countries are not allowed, I think the rules have been bent to make sure they aren't allowed, and the laws. Okay, can I start to ask a question? And again, we'll just go in we'll allow it to move in that same order. John Gordon, then Josh Sparkle, then Martin, then Chris. So it's, virtual sports are already so popular in many African markets. I would say wherever they've been introduced, they've taken off, and they've been a huge success. But I think even more so, and you guys can comment, during COVID, when we were all living without any form of, let's say, real sport, legitimate sport or live sport, virtual sports took on a new importance and a new meaning this year. Can you guys elaborate a little bit on it and give us your opinions, please?
So absolutely, we saw a bit of a step change during COVID, but as Martin will tell you, I mean, virtuals are here to stay worldwide, and they have been for longer than we've been around, as in my company been around. But I think what it did show is, there was a big appetite for virtuals, and we saw a step change. But we're now live sport is back, and we're still seeing our games grow and grow and grow. So although we did see a bump in the road, I think it was just natural. But the great thing is with virtuals is the end user just wants more and more, and it's here to stay in Africa, and it's here to grow.
Yeah, from my perspective, completely different. So we were supposed to launch a sports book in Nigeria, and then COVID hit. So prior to that, we'd launched in the UK. We're only live for 7-8 months, and then boom, punch in the face with COVID. So we went from having 3 virtual sports and not thinking too much of it to all of a sudden, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, running around like a headless chicken looking for virtual sports. What can I put on? What can I add? We're not ready for this yet. We were still building our sports book. So for me, there's been a lot of lessons learnt that I can bring that knowledge to our African sports books, because for one, we now know COVID's not over. It's not finished. Who knows when it's going to end? We also know, as the title states, it's changed, and it's a super important tool. We all know it's a great revenue maker, continually ticks over with a good margin. But for me, I think the most important thing is to know your landscape and know what virtuals work and how they work. So understand your punter and audience, I think, is really important, which we'll touch on later.
I think it's my part. So as John already mentioned, I have a different opinion about this COVID situation, and it follows me now since March, that in all panels when we speak about virtual sports, I have to explain how it helps virtuals to grow. I have to tell you something, it helped nothing. We shouldn't be the topic. When we speak about Africa, virtual sports was huge. It was amazing, huge even before. I think it's the only continent where betting shops open betting shops because they want to have virtual sports. If you see, for example, in Nigeria, the retail traffic, 65% generated in sports betting is done from virtual sports. It's not like in UK where you do maybe 10%, or in Italy you do 15%. Virtual sports is extremely high. So saying that, in Africa, I would say the only country where virtual sports
Martin, sorry to ask you, because the signal sometimes, what percentage did you say that virtuals are in Africa? Let's say, I mean, you should know your Nigerian stat. What do you say it is? Because I'll tell you, I promise you, I'll tell you the exact figures.
I say that virtual sports in Nigeria in the retail business goes up to 60-65% on the whole traffic.
That's right. Yeah, I thought you said Yeah, no, I thought you said 25%.
No, no,
Virtuals is the biggest single, without a doubt. Virtuals is the biggest driver of turnover in Nigeria, without a doubt. It's the biggest driver.
Yes, so just to continue the answer, virtual sports when it goes for online, up to now for real virtual sports is Kenya. Because Kenya was always very strong on mobile and desktop market. The rest is mainly retail. So luckily, the main markets like Nigeria, we didn't be hit so hard because the lockdown was for a very short time. And in online, we grow a little bit more. Virtual sports helped us more to grow outside from Africa, but not in a way that we grow more traffic. It was more in the way like Josh was saying, a lot of big operators which never had the resources left to add more virtual sports. They show an interest, yes. We signed 110 contracts, I think, in the first 2 weeks of COVID, which is usually 1 year for me. But still, we are operating to integrate. Still, some believe, okay, COVID is now not so dangerous anymore. We don't need it so urgent. So Africa, virtual has been big before, and COVID didn't change anything because every Africa knew that he needs virtual sports to have a good business in his sector. Give it to Chris.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I come from a slightly different perspective because we're an online operator in Uganda and Kenya. So, yeah, when March came, we were really badly hit. And in fact, we were one of the companies that very quickly integrated Golden Race. So what happened was we found we had no sports. we had no sports fixtures, so nothing to bet on. So we quickly upped our game in terms of the virtual providers that we had. We had one provider, which was 1x2 at the time, and then we added Golden Races and Chiron and some other virtuals. What we saw was quite interesting is that we saw the number of users doubled. So pretty much in COVID, it was pretty clear that our number of users doubled. But what was very interesting is that once all the football came back, the Premiership came back, and the Bundesliga and all the other leagues, we've actually managed to maintain the level of people using the virtuals. Although we expected to see a drop-off of users, we've actually seen that number of users actually stay the same and maybe still slightly increasing. So I'd say that virtuals as a product is definitely there to stay. It's a brilliant product for us. I mean, we are much more sports betting focused, and I know that, Martin, you've been talking a lot about the retail side of it. I think online it's not quite as prevalent, the virtuals, but still, especially when there's a lack of live sports to bet on, we saw a lot of people moving over to the virtuals. And the good news is we've managed to keep them. So I'd say from our point of view, that's what we've seen as an online operation. Okay, back to Dolan.
Good. Let's try and speed it up a little, guys, because I've got the questions are queuing up. Okay, what do you guys think players find so appealing about the virtual product, and what can the operators themselves do to maintain and increase these revenues that are as a result of the virtual product? You know, I think we can include the next question in it as well. And what do you think, especially this comes from the developer side, are the most successful combination of the game length itself? In other words, how long in between, I would say, bets being able to be placed on a particular event, and the bet type. What are the most successful combinations? So try and, you know, shoot through that, you guys. We've got to really try and move it up because these questions are starting to pour in.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I think for Africa, it's pretty inherent within them that they're looking for a tenfold multiplier or a low stake, high potential returns on a consistent basis. And I think they get that in droves, obviously, the way that the virtuals are inherently. Whether it be in retail or online, mobile, it's all about giving them a high frequency of a chance to winning that huge jackpot. The second question there is around frequency and, the time length and duration between bets and when the game is live. I think inherently, as long as you're using A/B data and testing, our games essentially find that sweet spot, which is whether it be 1 or 2 minutes between each game, so that they've got enough time to place a bet, enjoy the game, and then place another bet at the same time. But I think that comes as a natural equilibrium for all of the products.
Yeah, on to me. I think breaking it down, what's appealing is now more than ever, there's more betting opportunities. It's 24/7. There's every race, game, sport you can think of, and it's every minute or X amount of seconds. I think, and there's a lot of, if you look at it, there's new entertainment. Like it's fresh meat. There's an area that you can win, you can be successful, like you just said, John. It's got to be easy. It needs to have that slot appeal. Doesn't require knowledge or expertise. And then for us to maintain that, we need to make it. It's not all about the graphics. We know that doesn't work. It's about simple gameplay, familiarity, and association with sports. So there's no point having ice hockey, throwing that in there. It's not going to work. And then I think having a variety of games. So as we look at this panel, John and Martin, we have two opposite ends of the spectrum as games are provided, but they suit just about everyone in the market. Where if you've got your perfect games that Martin supplies, we know the game. It's got good graphics, it's perfect, it suits that punter. All the way to John's, where it's tailored, it's got that casino appeal. So we're very lucky in that sense. And then I think as far as game lengths and bet types, I don't think there's too much we can do in that area. We can't speed it up any more than what we already have. And with new games that are being created, you just need to keep them simple. There's no point having T's and C's, because think about yourself when they come up on your phone or your computer, you scroll straight through and just click yes. So make it simple, make it easy, and people will enjoy playing it.
Yeah, coming back again to Africa, what we can see is 95% of our traffic is done by virtual football. And the different variations of soccer, let's say in an EPL, is a classic format you can use anywhere in Africa, you make nothing wrong. Maybe adding a Champions League and other games, or going the way like John is doing, less graphics, but really nice betting markets and other areas. I think the most important to understand is we don't need 100 different games. The variation has not to be big. We should learn that we use the games where we know players like to play it and improve it, make it more simple, maybe add the horses and some small number games. And you have to give the possibility, and this is actually what Golden Race is different than most of my competitors, you have to let them add and change whatever they want. For example, if you see Golden Race in a shop now from Bet9 in Nigeria, or you see my games in an operator in Kenya, or you see in Ghana, the game looks completely different. So what we want to do is that we give the chance to our operators to change what they need. And this is my appeal to everyone in this chat, and maybe one of the most important things. People have to understand virtual sports is not like a slot game. You cannot just integrate it and let it go. You have to adapt it. You have to change what the market needs, and you have to work on a daily basis on this. And you have to speed it up. For example, we know, that our biggest traffic we do now is on demand. When it goes in online or mobile, people are focusing on demand. They don't want to work for 1 minute, 2 minutes. They want to start the event. So based on if it's the omni-channel, if I go on mobile on demand, in retail, to have it simple and adaptable for the operators, you have to work on this and not to go in a competition with 100 different games. Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to agree with pretty much everything that's been said there. I mean, football dominates from what I've seen. Virtual football absolutely dominates the market. Speed just has to be as quick as possible. I mean, people don't have to bet every 30 seconds, but give them the opportunity to bet every 30 seconds. Give them the opportunity to bet as fast as they want. Everybody knows that the attention span, especially online, is very, very short. So, they don't have to bet that quickly, but you do need to make the games as quickly as possible. I've been on a few operators where you have to wait 4 or 5 minutes for a new game, and it's not good. So yeah, definitely the time span has to be as short as possible. The only other thing that I wanted to add really is that graphics aren't that important. You need to A/B test your audience, find out what they want, and sometimes they want a really, really basic game. Sometimes basic or simple.
Look, one day I'll drag you all. I'll drag all of you guys around Africa, and we can have a chat about graphics. Graphics aren't that important, I assure you. We've got to get a happy medium. It's all very well at a show in London or in Johannesburg or in Barcelona showing us graphics. But I've got news for you. These guys can't, there's no way they can even afford televisions that are 10 years old. So it's pointless telling me it's 4K and it does this and does that. For Africa, it's a waste of time. It's not, it's really, we're not talking about South Africa, outside South Africa. It's a waste of time. It's an absolute, they can never display it. And they don't display it. I'll show you pictures of shops. The TVs are hanging on the ground. They're lying on the floor. So it's more important, honestly, to concentrate on other things. Let me move to the next question, guys. We've got so many people. Okay, this is for, I really think I'd only want this to be answered by the two developers, by John and by Martin. What is being done at the moment to develop the product further?
So for us, we focus on Opera Mini Extreme on low end handsets. So Nokia 3210 type of product for the mass market, low data usage, Opera Mini Extreme. So we build our applications for high end and low end and everything in between. Now, if you look at what we approach it differently, it's more about the gamification mechanics. How can we get that user to keep coming back using psychology, gamification techniques, as opposed to high graphical interface, which you have both touched on, that it might not be the main focus for Africa, certainly not for us. Also, little features that we can add, instant games, penalty kick games, or different football sporting event games, what are instant. And I think for us, when it talks about doing things differently, it's gamification techniques. It's those subtle things that we do, my company does in other areas, and we adapted it to virtuals. And then also what we did for some of our clients in Africa is we combined like score selector games that we use for real football and our virtual sports algorithm, and combined the two. So if we had a big score selector game where people would maybe a few million entries for the week for one of an operator, but you can only enter once, we then combined that with our virtual product where they could make predictions on the scores every 15 minutes. And we found that we had engagement that was just through the roof. We had, on average, 20 entries per user per day playing this game. And you could only make 4 entries per hour. But they were on the game 5, 6, 7, 8 hours in the day. And I think it's looking at it differently.
John, thanks, brother. Brother. We need to move on. This is not a demo. Let's move on. So they've got an idea where you think. And
so over to someone else.
Martin.
Yeah, I just lost you. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's my connection or you, but I lost you all the time, Dolan. So
I think it's your connection.
I wanted to
so
listen
what are you
to
doing?
John.
What is Golden Race doing to improve the product at all?
I will not tell you why I should tell you that. I'm joking.
No problem.
So I was wondering to listen to John because it's very interesting. For sure, we're also pushing on light formats, Opera Mini, but the most problem, I think John is also aware, it doesn't help you have to have the best Opera Mini solution if many of the betting platforms are not Opera Mini ready. And this is what we face at the moment. For the retail, we improve on our satellite solution. We're looking in solutions where we don't even use internet. We want to go more in offline mode in retail versions. These are the main things, as John was saying, at the moment in Africa, it's as light as possible, as simple as possible. And this is the way how you have to work when it goes for African market.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Martin. Yeah, I agree. We've got to, from my olden days, in about 2012, I was telling John the other day, or around 2011, 12, 13, when Sport Radar were trying to push virtuals. And I explained to them that, and I think even you guys were doing it, people were trying to push it to the operators on, hard drives. And first of all, the cost was through the roof for acquiring simply a hard drive as it necessitated another PC. And to be honest with you, because the agents or the cashiers or everyone in the shop itself understood that we were merely giving them a hard drive to display, let's say, an event from, and it was them picking a random result, they weren't happy at all. I think since you switched to a more live situation using a satellite, the players are much happier, and the operators, the agents, the cash, they're much happier.
Sorry, Dolan, I have to jump in there because it's a little bit the wrong information. Because Pedradar is still trying to get a solution. The situation in virtual sports is very easy.
Listen to me. I'm not boosting Pedradar here. I'm just talking about what happened and why I never even took it. I never took it. So.
No, the situation is that in virtual sports, you always have a video which you stream. The possibility is you stream it on a hard drive, and you need a very expensive hard drive, or you need a satellite solution. But the outcome is the same for a player. So just it's technology based. Some can working on a satellite, which is for sure a good solution, but you still risk the time when you have heavy rains in Nigeria, for example.
Yeah, well, I know exactly. That was my next, but we will get to that just now on my questions. That's my biggest fear, and I'll be honest with you, my biggest concern in Nigeria. Look, I've done this there a lot longer than even your partners, BetNaj. I've done it since 2009 there. So I know the fear is the connection goes down, and it's in the middle of a bet, or it's in the middle of this, and now you have all the problems with the player and all the problems in the shop because the connection goes down because of, never mind rain, it just clouds over and the satellite, dies. And it is a concern, and that's why I think in time we've got to find even better solutions for Africa, which I hope will come in time to come. I hope it does come, but it is a difficult scenario. It's not a simple thing to fix Africa. Give me a sec, guys. Okay, on today's modern handsets and the fact that we're discussing virtuals and they're virtuals in Africa, what are the data limitations? The browser restrictions. In other words, we're all talking Opera Mini all the time. Because as we all know, it doesn't matter if you've got the most expensive notebook in the world or PC, you can immediately notice and see what a massive data user and resource user Chrome is. What are we going to do about this? And what are you guys doing? I know what John's doing. I've heard it now. So he's going towards the Opera Mini solution. We're talking now for online players, obviously, mainly. To grow any further, I think, I know from Nigeria they start really complain about the usage, and South Africa anywhere for that matter, they complain. So I think that we've got to find a solution for where the data isn't as extreme. And definitely there's no way that the operator can absorb the data usage cost for streaming. Are you there, guys?
Where are we here?
Sorry, I was asking you about the resources. Sorry, hold on 2 seconds. I don't know what happened. Just quickly, today's modern handsets, and that we're discussing virtuals in Africa. What are the data limitations and the browser restrictions? As we all bouncing around the discussion regarding Opera Mini. We all know Chrome is a huge data user and a huge resource user. What are you both doing as developers to sort this out? And what are the operators' experiences? Because we're mainly talking here about online players. We're not talking physically about shops and retail environment. So I know what John is doing, and I believe from the earlier conversation that, Martin, you're also trying to make a few changes for the online player in Africa.
Yeah, but a few changes. Listen, we launched our first Opera solution with getting Kenya 4 years ago, and we're selling 50 million tickets on mobile every month. So the solutions is that you continue to work to make it as light as possible. Some of the clients decide not to show an event. They go only on a live score mode. The events are always getting shorter to do not get so much bandwidth consumption. This is our daily work. So the last 3 updates this year was only that I'm not a developer. All to say, I'm a sales guy. Thanks God, I'm not a developer. You would not get a good result. I have 300 employees. But
you're just the boss.
I have to tell it. So the last videos were always very proud, was only about speed, how fans with only the minimum resources, how we implement in Opera Mini. So now it's all on speed and light being more and more light. But again, we also rely a little bit on the platforms that we use. And I have to say there are not too many platforms in the industry which are ready for the African market. If you see the heavy sports book, and how they open the pages, and then you go there with me or John with Opera Mini, it doesn't help anyone. So I think for many betting platforms, they have to do homework for Africa. It's not only us. This is my opinion.
So as Martin says, the sportsbook front end has to have the light end capacity, so the user can access it from a Nokia 3210. The other thing I would add is we do a sort of a different application for a mobile and a separate application for the high end. And when we're talking high end, it's really all about not just the data, it's the UX UI design, mobile first. That's all I wanted to add.
Yeah, mobile first. Absolutely.
Yeah, and from our perspective, everything that you've said is completely correct. I think the only thing that we can do further is to work with you guys even more and get a better understanding of how we can integrate with that seamless floor design that just goes from our front end straight into everything where it needs to be.
Yeah, and from our end, we find, just from our point of view, just from our point of view, just to add that, we find that, the lower the bandwidth, the more people use it. So we want the bandwidth down as low as possible, and then the games get played more. So we're keen on that. And the Opera Mini solutions are really, really, really important, as has been mentioned. So back to you.
Look, I'll give you guys some insight, just very quickly. That we've had during COVID, we flipped a lot of players. So luckily, we owned quite a few land-based casinos all over the show, and we try to flip them into playing online. Look, it's a hell of a difficult task in Africa to get them to play casino online. But anyway, having said that, you cannot understand the issues we had in terms of resulting and games stopping. Let's say halfway through a spin, things like that. And this all at the end of the day results to bandwidth, because, the casino providers or the casino games manufacturers or developers are definitely not developing for Africa bandwidth. That's where the problem is. And it's the same as we've got to look at if we're going to make, virtuals work on mobiles or for a larger audience. We've really got to look at it carefully for here, for even Latin America, for for India, for places like that. And look, I know I'm speaking to the experts, but I'm telling you on the ground, the complaints and the moaning and all the time. These guys expect to see the picture on a 2G connection, and it's shocking, and they don't understand why they're not seeing it and why it's taking so long to load. So I'm sure you're working on it all the time and on compressions and on developing things, and I'm sure we're going to get there fast. So thank you. Let me just shoot the next question, and I think we might just move to the public. Maybe you can answer it all in one. I'm not sure if Golden Race is doing it even for us or for people in their environment, but is there a way that we can, the same as sports books in Africa, unfortunately we have to give the players what they used to. Is there a way that we can offer a bonus on accumulator, multiple, and certain types of bonuses using the Golden Race product or the Incentive Games product instead of using our own backend? And lastly, I'd like to know what the providers can do in order to avoid offering the same product to all operators. Martin, you mentioned your product looks very different or looks different in each country, and you try and adapt it to each country or operator. So that was interesting to hear, because otherwise, these players, they feel they're seeing exactly the same where they go or whatever. They can sort of see its golden race, or see its global bet, or see its incentive games. Okay, I'll leave it to you guys, and then we've got to shoot some out to the what's his name, to the questions. There's only one guy, so.
Just quickly, when we give our sell our games to our clients, we completely brand it to them, so that a lot of the time the clients have no idea who incentive games are. So the end user. So we completely brand it to our clients every time. When you talk about bonuses, I think that's a huge part of it. So we provide bonuses, the internal bonuses within our own wagering system. But I think that's a key thing for the gamification mechanics, and encouraging the user to do something for that bonus, whether it be share on Facebook or invite a friend. Those growth hack techniques really work with virtuals as well. That's all I wanted to say. Martin?
So, Nolan, Golden Race is everywhere the same product. The basic is always the same. The only thing what we offer to our clients is to adapt it as they want. For sure, branding is one option, but I know that my audience in Kenya is playing my soccer differently than my audience in Nigeria. In Nigeria, I have to work a lot on the combination bonus side, which Golden Race had from day one. So asking your question if it's possible, yes, it was always there. So as Golden Race is working on realistic odds, so we have real bookmakers in our office, all the bonuses introduced by Real Sportsbook, we have as well. Combination bonus, system bonus. We even started now to work with our bookmakers for specific markets. For example, if you open in Africa, Golden Race Virtual Sports, the betting markets are the difference than in Latin America and Europe, because we made statistics and we understood which betting markets, at least in real sports, are more attractive in these different areas. Now we added more bonuses, like in casino areas, where we have a bonus where you can collect bonus games and free spins when you play a lot. We give first deposit bonus, first free spin bonus, all these things what we didn't have before. But it's a big focus now on Golden Race is, first of all, get the players on Golden Race, and second, let them there to continue to play. And this is actually when it goes for virtual sports. Dolan was mentioning some competitors. We are really proud, and everybody knows in Africa, especially on this area, we usually introduce the other copy and follow. And this is how it goes in this area. And we focus a lot in the player retention and in these areas. But again, John and Golden Race fits perfectly together for all the people outside. So I would recommend, if you want to have virtual events, you take Martin, and John you take on the other side to have something, and you have everything you need.
I love you boys. This is a nice marketing venture.
No, there's nothing more you need in Africa.
Martin, if listen to me, if you come and sit in my office in Nigeria, as big as your partner is, Bet listen to them curse and moan about in that state. Then they curse and moan in that state about another provider. Then they curse and moan. Believe you me, Africa is not that simple. You can do in Johannesburg one product, and I promise you it will not sell in Durban. No matter what you do. Listen to me. Horse racing is still...
Okay.
Martin and I can make it work, I'm sure.
We are fully aware about
it. It's difficult, it's not as simple as that. I wish these guys were that simple. But tomorrow, they tell you they want to see a color from, wherever, Global Bet. Tomorrow, they tell you all they want to see is Golden Race football. Tomorrow, they tell you they want to see Albet's numbers game. I mean, it's impossible to please everybody. That I can assure you guys. So, I agree. Golden Race is a great product. John's, to what I've seen, is a great product. It's a matter operator of having all of you and, you know, allowing the players to choose, and I will push all products as hard as I could as an operator. But unfortunately, I have to let the players decide, and I promise you it's not easy. I wish it was easy. It's not easy. It's a difficult task. Let me have a look at these Q&As quickly. I think it's all one guy. Okay. Let me shoot with my one of my ex staff. Job David asks, how can we tackle the issues of exclusive rights to trade a particular virtual product in a certain jurisdiction? This is already becoming an issue in the Nigerian market. And obviously that's targeted straight at you, Martin.
Yeah, this is actually, this question was, I have to jump in, this question was pointed to me, and I love to hear this question, you know, because I have to clarify something. We are happy that we are serving the 3 biggest operators in Nigeria, and one of them is Bet9Car. And one of my real competitors, who believe is still a competitor from Liechtenstein, they were always telling around that we have exclusivity in Nigeria, and I can assure you there is no exclusivity in Nigeria. I can work with whoever I want in Nigeria. So okay, the question was, so I just wanted to answer it.
All right, okay. Well, you and I can discuss that later then. No problem. There's a
Someone
guy
has
from
a very bad
Kiron
internet connection.
I don't think it's me. There's a guy from Kiron Interactive asking, how many virtual sports tickets does Golden Race sell in South Africa? You may not want to answer it.
I just can answer him this question because I know why he asked, because he knows that we just finished our license now. I want to answer it in a quick format to Kiron Interactive by end of the year, more than Kiron, as I do in any other country in Africa.
Okay, that's your answer, no problem. There's a gentleman from DVF Gaming who I have no idea who he is, and I think it's not really a simple question to answer. He needs to contact all of you providers. He asks, please tell me a little bit about pricing for Africa. Well, I mean, that's ridiculous. He needs to ask you. Set up fees for Africa. How can we tackle the exclusive rights issue again? He asks, and we would like to operate in Africa, but in Africa, we have a big problem with the internet connection. So he obviously is very new to this. How do we solve that problem? Well, I mean, that's already solved long ago with satellite. And our markets will be shown via the connection, via satellite, if the connection is low. Well, I mean, the connection is never low on satellite. Let me just see. Yeah, those ways constant. And how do we learn about the integration process? Well, I mean, John and Martin can answer that. But I mean, to me, it's not really it's a question that should have been dealt with privately with the providers themselves. But it's really not difficult questions, in my opinion.
Yeah, you can just find us on LinkedIn, John Gordon, or Incentive Games, and I'm sure Martin is the same. Just contact us directly, please.
Maybe we make something together, John, a special setup fee together.
Yeah.
Yeah, Martin, I mean, you know, somebody who's asking those questions is really a novice, so, you know, a beginner. I mean, those problems have been solved for many years in Africa. I mean, we have satellite, we have, you know, setup fees are really, you know, to be honest, I don't believe the providers charge much or anything. It's reliant upon your platform provider.
I give you a quick one over this. I give you a quick one over this. You will never get Golden Race without setup, because we want to have the reasonable and serious partners. I don't want to get an agent who takes 3 shops from a big operator. I want to become an operator. But we never asked for money for the satellite, so we invested heavily in 5 satellite channels from Golden Race. So as long as you're happy with our branding, you don't have to pay for your own satellite. So these points we always want to help. But in Austria, we say, was nichts kostet, ist nichts wert. It means what doesn't cost anything is also nothing worth. So we will never give our games for free, and thanks God, our business and the product is strong enough.
You get what you pay for in life.
Sorry? Yes,
you
exactly.
get what you pay for in life. Yeah.
Yes.
If it's cheap development, it's going to be cheap product. For sure.
I understand some of.
Look, we've shot way past the time. I'm not sure if they will allow us. Let me just look. Yeah, we're closing out the session. Okay. So, guys, I'm really appreciative to all of you. I mean, there have been some great input, especially from the developers, which is what we, and the providers, which is what I thought. And I'm sure a lot of the guys who are just listening in, or operators who are listening in, have got a lot of, more information to deal with and understand where the industry is going. All I can tell everybody is I am, as an operator, at how massive the sales are on virtual. It's definitely the way things are going. And I don't think my kids' generation or the new generations are going to be betting that much on real sport, to be honest. They're going to be playing virtuals. Virtuals is the way to go. So it was that's why I chose to pick this topic and moderate it. I really believe in it. I've seen the figures. I know they're astronomical. So I think the providers in the world, the top 4, 5, 6, 7 providers, are doing a great job and provide a real top quality product. I think just for Africa, we've really got to try and squeeze the data somehow. And, it's not an easy task. We've really got to squeeze it. If you guys were there, you'd be horrified. I can drive from my home to my office in the middle of Lagos, and it's in the most expensive area in Lagos. And honestly, I will not even get a data signal from my home to my office. Nothing, zero, the whole way. So, it's something we've got to overcome in Africa, unfortunately. Anyway, John, thank you. Is there anything you want to say in closing? John, no. Martin, Chris.
Thank you, everybody.
Anything in closing? I'm sure we've said enough.
No, mate, thank you.
I hope I haven't driven you too mad. Martin, we'll talk after this about something. Thank you.
Thanks
very much.
Okay, thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thanks very much.